Hello and welcome to my review of the Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine Primaris Lieutenant from the INDOMITUS box set. The box set will set you back £125 and at the moment it's the only way to get this Lieutenant. If you want to be in for a chance of winning the box set, I'll ship it around the world. Just check out my giveaway video on the channel. You just need to be a subscriber and leave a comment of which model you think in the box set is your favourite. If you look at Games Workshop's web store, typically these Lieutenant models will set you back £20 individually. If they do release him, I can guess that that is what they're going to charge. I'm going to try and keep the Lieutenant jokes down to a minimum, but just looking at the number of Lieutenants on my table, I'm not sure I'll be able to last throughout the whole video. You may have heard of these Primaris Lieutenants. It's a running joke. It's so much of a running joke that even Games Workshop poke fun at themselves by releasing Lieutenant after Lieutenant, when there are so many other models in the range that need love, they need an update. For the number of new Lieutenant models that they've created, they could have easily updated some of the box sets for other armies, and that makes me a little bit sad. Anyway, let's have a look at the model himself. I'll probably say he's one of the best Space Marine Primaris Lieutenants. I know I say that about all of them, don't I? Every single one. But yeah, he certainly stands out amongst the crowd with this ornate looking weapon, which we've not really seen many of in Warhammer 40,000, and it's called the Neo-Volca Pistol. They couldn't just come out and call it a Volkite pistol because those weapons are ubiquitous to 10,000 years ago in the Horus Heresy, so they had to call it a Neo-Volkite pistol. He's also sporting a power sword there and a storm shield, which looks very similar to the Captain's relic shield, but that one's so large it's got a skeleton mounted to it. Anyway, absolute joy to build and put together. You won't have any issues. He's got this big iron halo, which I think looks bigger than the Captain's, but without the skull. Yeah, loads of detail going on. He's even got one of these little chest shield things, so you can paint something on, or you can put a transfer. He's got this big buckle with a bit of a cloak hanging through, and some kind of dagger emblem thing, and a little lockbox. And then you've got the rest of his Mark 10 armour shining through. These really quite sharp curved parts of his knee armour and the purity seals, some ornate parts to his van braces. I've got to get it right, van braces and greaves. Then there's a skull with a little halo on there. Nothing really going on with the Neo-Volca Pistol other than a very, very small power magazine. Then you've got a bespoke power plant there, again with a skull with a halo. You've got a Necron head just hidden on the floor. It would have been nice if they had that head or whatever it is there front and center. I think it's a nice little extra feature that you get from the model by turning it around. Oh, there's a Necron head, but you know, you can swap that out. You can put one of the stones on, you can put the head on one of the eradicators or whatever. The great thing about these sort of extra hexagonal base furniture, I want to call it, is that it's interchangeable with all of the other Primaris Marines that have a hole for it. There's the storm shield. Looks absolutely brilliant. We've got these skulls embedded. That's going to be a joy to shade and highlight. And yeah, plenty of detail on that sword sheath too. The only thing I find a bit odd is just these massive pistol holsters. They just look a bit odd for me. They do on the blade guard, and even more so on the upcoming individual box set for the blade guard. Anyway, that is the Primaris Lieutenant. That's all the detail and things for him. Let's go through a Lieutenant showcase, shall we? We'll do some size comparisons as always, and then we'll go through the final 3 size comparisons that I always go through. So without sounding too cheeky, Games Workshop have released 1 or 2 other Primaris Lieutenants. Pretty much you have to buy a Thunderhawk to put them all in nowadays, but here are most of them. There's, I think, a store exclusive one that I don't have. Okay, so chapter specific ones. Well, that's clearly a Space Wolf. Any Space Marine with an axe is clearly a Space Wolf. Any Space Marine with some kind of cloak thing and plasma pistol is a Dark Angel, so that's him. And any Space Marine sort of posing, like this one, Telemon, with a saber, is clearly a Blood Angel. So they're the kind of chapter specific ones, those three. Then you've got some event and store exclusive ones, so that's these two here. Lieutenant Aurelius, or Aurelian, I think. He is the tallest lieutenant out of all of them. He's, look how taller he is compared to the Indomitus one. He is, I mean, he could pass as a captain, really, let's face it. But yeah, he's very tall because he's the only one with a sort of taller scenic base, I guess. So, and then there's this one as well, which is a bit of an exclusive one. Sorry, probably you can't see these very well, the detail. Anyway, there's Aurelian. There's the store exclusive one. There's another exclusive one. The Phobos ones, there are two. These two right here. I was looking for this one everywhere, but he was hidden away, you know, as Phobos ones. I really like this one. I think this is one of the coolest ones with that smoke grenade being let off. But yeah, so they're the Phobos armoured ones, or the Vanguard ones. You've got two in the Dark Imperium box set, which are, can't see, which are right here. These two, just sort of kind of painted a little bit, but yeah, they're a bit boring. Then you've got this blue guy, which is Lieutenant Cassius, I think I want to call him. He is an Ultramarines one, so sorry, I should have put him there. But yeah, this one's quite a cool one, pulling out that Gladius blade. So he's sort of an Ultramarines one. And then you've got this one, which I think, along with this Phobos one, are the two that you can buy off the Games Workshop web store, along with the Dark Angels and the Blood Angels. So I think you can buy 4 off the store, and this is one of them. But yeah, pretty boring looking compared to the other poses, especially compared to this new one. So this is kind of, at the moment, the closest we're going to get to a kind of Terminator Lieutenant. A Lieutenant in Gravis armour is getting close, I'm sure. It won't be too long before we get one in Gravis armour. Maybe we get one in Inceptor armour. Who actually knows? Maybe we get close combat Inceptors. Who knows? Anyway, that's a little comparison with all of the other lieutenants. Just a couple that are about there. Let's compare him to the captain in the box set. Captain is taller just because he's on a much bigger scenic base, because he's on a heavily filled scenic base there. He's got the shield, which is kind of the same height as the lieutenant as well. And he's got the sword unsheathed, and he's got his helmet open, and I think he's got a similar sized halo thing, but with an added skull in there. Not only an added skull, he's also got an added skeleton. I mean, one up. Anyway, so that's how the captain looks near him. Blade Guard, they look kind of similar. You're not going to see that much difference with the Blade Guard and a lieutenant, which is great in a way, because you know, you could turn these Blade Guards into lieutenants if you just wanted a lieutenant there. You know, that works. But similar size. The Eradicators are a little bit taller and obviously bulkier. The Blade Guard Ancient is a bit taller, but again, that's just because of the pose. You've got the Chaplain, similar sort of height, but more of a presence because of the staff. And then Judicia, which is probably the closest sized one. You've got an Assault Intercessor, similar sort of height there. And then you've got the Outrider. Yeah, much more of a presence, I guess. You know, Primaris on a bike. I love the sleek look of those bikes as well. Okay, the sort of final comparisons I want to make is just with the 3 legendary models that I always compare them to. So Sly Marpos at the front. You've got a Legacy Space Marine there, which is, yeah, a little bit smaller, but not too much smaller actually. Compared to a normal Primaris. Normal Primaris is actually just a little bit taller. Again, just because of the pose, which is fine. And Sly Marbo, yeah, Probably comes up to his chest plate, if that, which is quite big really for a human. And then the final little comparison I just wanted to make with a Necron model, which is a similar kind of lieutenant for the Necrons, which is the Royal Warden, kind of like a Necron equivalent to a lieutenant. He is a little bit taller, you know, again, because of that pose. And I'm not sure if he's more intimidating. They're both pretty intimidating, but the lieutenant does have that bigger base and more bulk to him. But yeah, they're pretty awesome looking models. Okay, so that's it for the size comparisons. I think I exhausted it as much as I possibly could. Let's get down to all of the rules for him. So he is a separate HQ choice. He's a power points cost of a 4. I have no idea what his points cost would be in match play, because in the Edge of Silence supplement, they don't provide you with the match play points. But if it's anything like in the Space Marine Codex, he will set you back 65 points base, and then you've got to pay all of the other points for his things. I don't think that the Storm Shield's going to be that cheap, and I don't think that Neo-Volkite Pistol is going to be cheap. Anyway, how does his stat line read? Well, he's a movement speed of 6 inches, a weapon skill 2+, ballistic skill 2+, strength 4, toughness 4, 5 wounds, 4 attacks, leadership 8, and a save of 3+. How does he compare to the captain then? Well, he's got exactly the same stat line, except he's got 1 less wound, and he's got 1 less attack and 1 less leadership. So he's still a very solid choice. Model is equipped with a Neo-Volkite Pistol, mastercrafted power sword, frag grenades, crack grenades, and storm shield. So what does this Neo-Volkite Pistol do? Well, it's a way better weapon than the captain has, the heavy bolt pistol. It's a range 15 inches, it's a pistol 2, strength 5, AP 0, and damage 2. Each unmodified wound roll of 6 inflicts 1 mortal wound on the target in addition to any other damage. So although the range is shorter than the heavy bolt pistol, it's a better strength, more damage, and whenever you get wound rolls of 6s, you get mortal wounds. Fantastic that it's got that ability for the mortal wounds. Mastercrafted power sword. It's a melee weapon, strength +1, so that bumps the strength up to 5, AP -3, and a damage of 2. That's great, because it's mastercrafted, you know, you're getting that damage too. And then he's got frag grenades and crack grenades which work as normal. Now, he's got a storm shield. If you're new to 40k, you may not have heard of a storm shield before, but they've changed the way they work in 9th edition. The bearer has a 4+ invulnerable save. You also improve the bearer's save characteristic by 1. I'm not reading it that the Storm Shield bumps up the invulnerable save by 1 to 3+. I think they're completely separate because it would have said in addition. So that's great that he's got a save of 3+ normally. It's bumped up to 2+ because of that Storm Shield, and he's got a 4+ invulnerable as well. So a 2+ normal and a 4+ invulnerable is very tasty indeed. Abilities: Angels of Death, and then Tactical Precision, Aura. You re-roll wound rolls of 1 for attacks made by models in friendly chapter units whilst their unit is within 6 inches of this model. So that's one of the reasons why you're going to get him, is the ability to re-roll those wound rolls of a 1 for attacks. The captain, you can re-roll hit rolls of 1 for attacks. So it works a little bit different. You can re-roll wounds for him, reroll attacks for the captain. Keywords: Imperium, Adeptus Astartes, Infantry, Character, Primaris, and Lieutenant. So how does he compare to the previous Primaris Lieutenants in the September 2019 Codex? Well, they've had a bit of an upgrade. The same power points cost, but his ballistic skill is now 2+, and it used to be 3+, but everything else remains the same. I'm guessing in the upcoming Codex they'll have something along the lines of, you know, the unit contains 1 and it can additionally contain 1 Primaris Lieutenant. So you can have 2 of them and you set them up at the same time, but you can set them up, you know, somewhere else on the battlefield. But a nice big upgrade for the Primaris Lieutenant there. He's got a swanky new weapon, he's got the ability to use that Storm Shield, his aura remains the same, and he's got a better ballistic skill for it too. Very, very solid choice there for Space Marines and Primaris. Lovely looking model. One of the best in the set, one of the best of the Primaris, in my humble opinion. But what do you guys think of this Lieutenant? Are you suffering Lieutenant fatigue now? Or are you hungry for more? Would you rather have another 10 brand new Primaris Lieutenants than the Overlord gunship? I'm guessing the answer is probably no, but let me know what you think down below. Thank you ever so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching. The Emperor protects.